Your first assignment is to add something to the academic canon. But what is that, a canon? So that's what we first start. So I will explain what a canon is and why it's important and why you should reflect about it. So the word canon here comes from the Latin word, which comes from the Greek word kanon, which is a measuring rod, and that means, as it says, refers to any standard or convention. Let me read what the dictionary says here, Wikipedia. The term Western canon denotes a criteria of books, and more broadly music and art, that have been the most important and influential in shaping Western culture. As such, it includes the greatest works of artistic merit. Such a canon is important to the theory of educational perennialism and the development of high culture. In practice, debates and attempts to define the canon in lists are essentially restricted to literature, including poetry, fiction and drama, biographical and autobiographical writing, philosophy and history. A few accessible books on the sciences and mathematics are also included. So the canon is knowledge or let's say knowledge of culture which is shared by people in a society. For example, everyone here has heard about the Bible. Maybe not everyone has read it, but we know what it is, and you don't have to say who Jesus is, right? We know who Jesus is, and we also know who Harry Potter is. So they belong to the canon, what we all know. But then, so there's the difference between the canon about things which everyone knows, and maybe the high culture, what everyone should know, what the intellectuals or the highly educated people think that are important that everyone should know. So that's why at schools you learn the classics. You learn about ancient Greek mythology, but you also learn about Shakespeare and you learn about Dutch literature. Probably you know about Multatuli in the Netherlands, for example. So that is what the canon is about. So the canon is what everyone should know, and why should everyone know it, versus what everyone already knows. Look, here we see the difference. Probably everyone knows who this is, right? E.T. That's also interesting. It might also change during time, so this is a Steven Spielberg film, E.T. But here we have a philosopher, probably not everyone knows or immediately recognizes this picture, but this is a philosopher, Peter Singer, a philosopher who plays an important role in this course. So I think that that's my opinion, that every intellectual or student should know who this person is. So I think that Peter Singer should be in a canon. Why do I think that? Well, the rest of the course will give argument for that. But here you see the difference, what everyone knows and what everyone should know according to other people. Here, this is the formal scheme this is called of Dutch history. This is the canon of Dutch history. There has been an official committee to select themes which should be used in education on history of the Netherlands. So these are, I forgot how many, 40 or something windows on Dutch history. And this is used as a basic for all basic education in the Netherlands. So all the Dutch students, you can just ask them, and hopefully if everything well, they know that this is Van Gogh and that this is Anne Frank and that this is Erasmus. And that means that it is shared knowledge by everyone. That's what canon means. Actually, so and here I have no. So what the assignment is for you to do is imagine that Utrecht University introduce a canon where all new students have to learn this canon when they enter Utrecht University. And you are required by the rector to add one item to that canon. So you have to think, what do I think is important for all students from Utrecht University to know? So you have to think about that why. So you have to select a topic and to write why. And the column is about arguing why you think that's important. You should have convincing arguments. So I'm not interested, well, I'm interested, but the important is not describing what it is, but why do you add that to the canon? That is your assignment for the first column. We go a little deeper here to this concept of Bildung. That relates to canon. Bildung means, it's a German word for education, that it means that you develop yourself in the broadest possible sense. So that education is not about learning skills or learning a subject, but to really develop yourself to a better version of yourself, and also very broadly, so that you participate in the broad culture of society. So that means that you not only focus very small on being a scientist, but that you also, well, share in the culture, as I said, by going to museums, reading quality newspapers, reading some novels, going to the theater, maybe also play an instrument yourself, be very culturally developed. That is Bildung. The term Bildung refers to the German tradition of self-cultivation as related to the German for creation, image, shape, Bildung, wherein philosophy and education are linked in a manner that refers to a process of both personal and cultural maturation. This maturation is described as a harmonization of the individual's mind and heart in a unification of selfhood and identity within the broader society, as evidenced with the literary tradition of the Bildungsroman. So this is a very woolly way of putting it. It's about lifelong learning and self-development. And the guy who was really important in this is the German scientist Wilhelm von Humboldt in the 18th, beginning of 19th century. And in Germany, in Berlin, we also have the Humboldt University. So he put the idea of Bildung as a core concept in university education. So it's meant for broad general education of being a well-educated, self-cultivated person instead of having very small skills. And that's Bildung is the opposite of Ausbildung. Ausbildung means you just learn some skills and one particular subject, and it has nothing to do with a broader ideal of how to be a better version of yourself. That relates also to the honors component of this course. So hopefully this whole course helps you to work on your personal Bildung, this course as a whole. But besides of that, there's also the option for you to do the honors component of this course. And that's not required, but it's open to all students, not only to honors students. And in this honors component, we will specifically all work on Bildung, on self-development and cultural development. By you have to do choose from a list of things to do, and you're visiting museums, theaters, concepts, read a novel, and also the important thing is you reflect on all those activities. That makes it Bildung. Not just doing it is not enough. Reflecting on it and how that relates to your life, and then you make a portfolio about it and write a reflective essay. Oh, here's the first assignment again, column 1, I already told that. Huh? What do you think every academic should know? Explain why. Here again, the same example about what everyone knows. Well, that's the thing, maybe you don't know, but maybe you know. This is Kabouterplop. But here we have two thinkers. Do you know who these persons are? Here we have Charles Darwin, and here we have Richard Dawkins, one of the most important intellectuals of this moment. So that's the difference between even if you're not an evolutionary biologist, you should know who Darwin is, right? So the academic canon is meant to let you reflect on learning, because till now education meant that you have been presented with knowledge. Knowledge is just presented to you piece by piece, and you swallowed it. And now we're flipping it, and we think about, okay, what do you want to know? What is important, and why is it important? In the question also, is there a set of knowledge or abilities everyone should know? And also a question more deeply is a canon always completely subjective, or are there certain norms? We do the same little game again with these three thinkers, people. Maybe this is something everyone already knows, Franz Bauer. But do you know who the other persons are? Well, here we have a young Immanuel Kant, one of the most important philosophers of all times. And here, with his hands on his head, is philosopher Karl Popper, who will play a very important role in this course, both on philosophy of science, with his falsification criteria, and in the political philosophy part on the open society. So here we have a difference between canon should be this, and this is what already everyone knows. You don't have to put Franz Bauer in a canon, but the others are. So, and then you have to reflect on why that would be. This is my personal canon. If I was asked to add books to what every student should know, and I think that every student should at least have read these books, and if you haven't read them, to know about these books and to know about what is in them. So here they are. Here we have Richard Dawkins' book, The God Delusion. An evolutionary biologist explains you why God is a delusion. Here we have Bill McKibben's book, early 1980s, The End of Nature, which is the first book for general audience about climate change and how we relate to nature. It's a beautifully written book. It's really, the style is great. Here we have Peter Singer's book, Animal Liberation, 1975, the first book addressing, or first philosophy book addressing factory farming, and that's the whole beginning of the whole idea, the whole animal rights movement. So it's really a tremendously important book, and it's also very well written. And here, the last book is the book by James Hansen, NASA climate scientist, who wrote this book, Storms of My Grandchildren, the truth about the coming climate catastrophe and our last chance to save humanity. So this is, of course, because this is the single most important topic we are facing, that everyone should, or at least all academics should have read that book, so that you are able to speak to people and convince people who are climate scientists, climate skeptics.